Marlon Hayes had worked the night shift at Silvercrest Corporate Tower for almost 9 years. To most people, he was just the janitor. They walked past him, without seeing the quiet dignity in his posture, the tired strength in his hands, or the kindness in his eyes. But Marlon never complained. He believed that honest work, any work, was worth doing right. Every night, while the rest of the building slept, Marlon moved from floor to floor with slow, steady steps. Not because he was lazy, not because he lacked energy, but because Marlon carried the weight of years of hardship, the kind of pain that never left your bones. At 62, his knees ached, his back stiffened easily, and his left shoulder had a permanent pinch from an old construction injury, a job he'd lost long ago when the company downsized. After that, the janitor job was the only thing he could get, and he took it with pride because it allowed him to support his daughter's college fees and help his granddaughter stay in dance school. But there was someone who never saw the pride in him, Daniel Ross, the building supervisor. Daniel was the type who enjoyed authority a bit too much. Everything about him said he loved control. His barked orders, his fake smile, the way he walked like the building belonged to him. And ever since Daniel got promoted 6 months earlier, his behavior toward Marlon changed. What used to be short instructions became constant criticism. What used to be simple reminders turned into humiliation. What used to be, "Hey Marlon," became, "Hey old man, move faster." One night, Marlon was scrubbing a stain that wouldn't come off the carpet. Daniel walked up behind him and snapped, "Why are you so slow? You're costing me time." Marlon lifted his head. "Sir, I just want it done right. This stain will take a bit." Daniel cut him off. "Excuses. You're just slow." He walked away with a smirk. Marlon swallowed the hurt like he always did. But the words were sharper than usual that night. Not because they were new, Daniel had said them before, but because Marlon could feel the threat hidden underneath them. A week later, the threat became real. It was 3:40 a.m. when Daniel approached him again, this time with a clipboard and a stiff smile. "Marlon," he said, "we need to talk." Marlon felt a knot tighten in his stomach. "About what?" Daniel shrugged, pretending to be sad. "Your performance. You're too slow. You're holding us back." Marlon blinked, stunned. "Slow? Sir, I clean 3 floors every night. Sometimes 4 when someone calls in sick." Daniel raised a hand. "Doesn't matter. I already reported you. HR agrees. You're done here." "Done?" Marlon whispered. "After 9 years?" Daniel nodded and took a cruel pleasure in saying, "You're fired. Effective immediately." Marlon stood frozen in that hallway, his cart beside him, his mop still wet. His heart broke, not because of the job, but because of the disrespect. 9 years of loyalty reduced to a lie. He went home just as the sun rose, carrying not just his uniform, but the weight of humiliation. His daughter opened the door and saw his eyes, tired, defeated. "Daddy, and what happened?" Marlon tried to smile, but his chin trembled. "I lost my job, baby," he said softly. "My boss said I'm too slow." His daughter's expression changed from shock to anger. "No," she said. "We're not letting this happen." Something inside Marlon stirred, hope, fear, and disbelief all mixed together. He didn't know it yet, but the truth was about to come out, and when it did, the whole building would shake. 2 days after being fired, Marlon received a surprising phone call from Ms. Rivera, the head of human resources. Her voice was calm, but something in her tone sounded serious. "Mr. Hayes," she said, "we need you to come in. There are developments." Marlon didn't know what to expect, but his daughter insisted she go with him. When they entered the HR office, they found Ms. Rivera sitting upright, folders stacked on her desk, and a large monitor turned slightly away, as if she had paused something important. "Please sit," she said warmly. Marlon lowered himself into the chair, nervous but steady. "Mr. Hayes," she began, "you were terminated because your supervisor reported that you were consistently slow and failing to complete tasks." Marlon's daughter frowned. "That's not true." Ms. Rivera nodded. "That's why you're here. We reviewed the building's cleaning logs, timestamps, GPS movement trackers, and most importantly, the security footage." She pressed a button. The monitor lit up. There was Marlon, cleaning, sweeping, mopping, moving from floor to floor. Slow? No, purposeful, thorough, and consistent. But something else showed up in the footage too. Daniel, over and over again. He was seen interrupting Marlon, redirecting him, making him redo tasks unnecessarily, ordering him to clean things twice even when they were already spotless. At one point, Daniel even blocked off an elevator and forced Marlon to climb 3 floors of stairs while carrying equipment, then recorded it as slow. The pattern was obvious. Ms. Rivera leaned back, her jaw tight. This wasn't about speed. It was personal. Marlon swallowed hard. He didn't like me. She nodded. It appears so. We also interviewed other janitors. They confirmed Daniel singled you out, criticizing you more than anyone else, assigning double work, timing you unfairly, and trying to make you look incompetent. Marlon felt a wave of shame and anger. His daughter gripped his hand. Daddy, this wasn't your fault. Then came the twist. Ms. Rivera pulled out a document, Daniel's written report. It was full of lies, but attached to it was another file, a complaint filed by Daniel's previous assistant, accusing him of targeting older employees, and specifically black workers. The company never acted on it because Daniel left before the investigation concluded. But now, combined with Marlon's case, it painted a clear picture. This is discrimination, Ms. Rivera said firmly, and he tried to cover it. Marlon sat speechless. Then Ms. Rivera said the words he never expected. Mr. Hayes, you were wrongfully terminated. We want to offer you your job back, with back pay, full apology, and a promotion to senior custodian. You've earned it. Marlon blinked. His throat tightened. I don't know what to say. His daughter wiped her eyes. Say yes, Daddy. But Ms. Rivera wasn't finished. Also, Daniel has been placed on immediate suspension pending termination. Marlon inhaled sharply, not out of revenge but relief. Justice, finally. He stood slowly. Thank you. Not for firing him, but for seeing me. Ms. Rivera smiled softly. We should have seen you sooner. As he left the office, Marlon felt lighter, not because he got his job back, but because the truth had finally spoken for him, and for the first time in years, he felt visible. A week later, the entire building buzzed with whispers. Everyone knew what happened. Daniel's lies, HR's investigation, and Marlon's reinstatement. But no one expected what came next. Ms. Rivera arranged a formal meeting in the lobby, inviting all staff, supervisors, and cleaning crews. The announcement said, Departmental Update and Recognition Ceremony. When Marlon arrived, dressed in a clean uniform, people stared, but not with pity. With respect. Some nodded. Some smiled apologetically. Some looked ashamed for never noticing what he endured. The meeting began with Ms. Rivera stepping forward, microphone in hand. Today, she said, we acknowledge a serious mistake made within our company. Everyone grew silent. We failed to protect one of our own from unjust treatment. Then she called Marlon to the front. The lobby erupted in applause. Real applause, not polite clapping. Even the executive team stood. Marlon walked slowly, overwhelmed. When he reached the podium, Ms. Rivera continued. Marlon Hayes has worked here for 9 years with dedication, integrity, and excellence. Recent claims made against him were proven false. Not only was he not slow, he consistently exceeded expectations, despite unfair obstacles placed in his path. She paused. Effective today, Marlon is promoted to senior custodial supervisor. He will oversee training, scheduling, and quality standards for the entire department. Another wave of applause, but the moment that hit Marlon hardest was when the janitorial team stepped forward. 4 men and 2 women, each placing a hand on his shoulder. We're with you, brother, one said. You always had our respect, said another. Marlon's eyes welled. He stepped to the microphone. I never expected this, he began, voice trembling. I came here to work, to feed my family, to do my best. I don't need awards. I just need fairness. He looked across the room, his voice strengthening. What happened to me shouldn't happen to anyone. Not because of age, not because of race, not because one person thinks they're better. He swallowed hard. I forgive Daniel, not because he deserved it, but because I deserve peace. The room went silent. Then, another surprise. His granddaughter ran up to him and hugged him tightly. Grandpa, you're my hero, she whispered. Marlon cupped her cheek, tears falling freely. For the first time in years, he felt seen, respected, validated. The meeting ended with employees lining up just to shake his hand. When Marlon stepped outside, the sun felt warmer. The air felt lighter. And for the first time, He walked with a sense of worth he had never allowed himself to claim, because the truth had not only set him free, it restored everything he'd lost: his dignity, his confidence, his voice, and that was worth more than any job title.